Damn. I choked. Yeah, I choked on it. So, Colin went to the bathroom, and now I can just hear the toilet flushing. Damn. Choke once and fucking it just hangs out. I know, I'm being so loud on this fucking thing. So what do you want to talk about?
We're seconds away from getting it started at Lambeau Field.
What the hell?
Dude, that was like the perfect intro.
I know. Well, that's the intro of the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to an episode of
Jeff and Collin in the morning.
Jeff and Collin in the morning. Yeah. This is a new adventure for us. I mean, we had a couple like different spin-offs here and there. Like our conjugal visits was the first one that we just had where it was just Jeff and I, and then we had another episode that just due to conflict of scheduling purposes, John couldn't make it with us. But I think we did title that episode that morning John forgot we were recording.
Yeah.
But now we're going to have some scheduling issues a little bit more because of John's working full time. So it's not that Film Asylum is disbanding. We're still doing Film Asylum stuff. It's just a matter of us bringing out more content. Like, it's another reason why we have Movie Morgue and Conjugal Visits, and COVID kind of helped us do a little more Film Asylum type stuff. And
honestly, I was surprised the amount that we did do. Like, even, we still got, what, 3 more episodes that are that we're still editing and doing the art for them. Honestly, I know the art's taking a little longer because I got a lot going on my plate, too.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So at least I'm like sending them updates of like what's going on with the art, so it's like not like it's just sitting here.
I mean, people got to realize we're not under contract for anybody that we have to pump this stuff out, and the channel's still growing, so it's not like there's any real rush for any of it.
No, not even all. Because honestly, like this has always been just for fun. Like we've been enjoying it, and it's kind of become, I would say, our hobby.
Oh, totally.
Because like. Honestly, like, even with our packed schedules, especially me and you, we're doing, 60, 70 hours a week?
Yeah, I've been doing doubles every Sunday, practically, like, at least 2 in a row, and then I get, like, 1 break. It's like, these is, oh, God.
Dude, it's fucking rough.
It is rough.
Yeah, I'm actually coming off my 14-day stretch.
Ooh.
So at least it's a fun thing we're going to on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So like, we talked about it earlier on. I want to definitely say we did Scream Queens, and I think there was a Monster Squad that we did talk about. We're going to go to Monster Mania. It might have been more because like honestly,
it could have been, yeah.
With everything now starting to open up, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little pissed that they're like, all right, we're going to keep adding more tickets. I'm like, no, you fucking leave it because I'm not waiting in line for like 4.5 hours.
Well, to be fair, that is what saved my ass to get a ticket.
I understand the 50%, but now they're like, all right, let's push more. I'm like, no.
Well, you remember what happened that time? What was it, in 2017? Oh, man.
Dude, that was the one and only time I was actually salty about everything. Because, like, I went the night before, and, dude, it opened at 5:30. We didn't actually get onto the floor till maybe 6 because they just kept letting people come in.
It was crazy. That was such a crazy day. I know I wasn't with you and Lexi there that weekend. I was actually with Ben and Mike, and Ben was in his Lord Damien McDonovan outfit, and rightfully so. I mean, that's a great way to promote it.
Oh, absolutely.
But they had such a loaded weekend cast that weekend. It was ridiculous. I mean, they had...
Dude, Tim Curry alone.
I was just going to say, alone, that was insane. I mean, that made me want to go just because it's like, I don't know how much longer he has. I hate saying it like that, but it's true because of him and his condition.
But you think about a lot of the icons, they are. I would say even legends, like, that are still, we talk about a lot. They are getting up there in age. Like, we talk about Tom Atkins all the time, and he's up there. And
86.
I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, it's just one of those things. I'm like, they don't have much time. Like, it's going to be a sad day when we start losing more and more of them. I know we've already lost some really good ones, and it's sad.
It is really sad. I said the same thing about the music industry, because I know you and I mean, you're more inclined to like gravitate towards newer bands and stuff, but as for me, I'm very picky about the music I listen to, and I grew up with a lot of the old classics. I mean, if I could see it, Led Zeppelin, I totally would, but I mean, I really only gravitate anymore to like Alice Cooper and Kiss mostly, and I know they're in their 70s.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh, by the way, I did get an email that Alice Cooper and Ace Frehley. I
saw that, dude.
Yeah, I was like, dude, we gotta go. I
was looking at that, I'm like, shit. What, dude? I didn't know House of Blues closed.
What, in Atlantic City?
Yeah. That was, I think I saw it was like 2015. It actually closed. So it was shortly after we saw Alice Cooper there.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, I was like, fuck, I didn't even know, because I'm like looking through the lineup, and I'm like, dude, we went there a lot. I know Lexi and I did, and then we saw Alice Cooper there a lot.
I know. I think I saw Alice Cooper there at least twice.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, I think it's one of those things. Like, the bands now don't put on the show that Kiss and Alice Cooper and Zombie do. It's they're just there for the music. Where, dude, you've got a stage, you use it. I mean, dude, I don't even care if it's like 37 minutes of pyro for no reason at all. Like, go for it.
I said to Jackie, as a matter of fact, I said this to her last night because we were talking about it, because we went to Mahoning. We saw RoboCop and the original RoboCop in 35 millimeter.
I totally forgot there was a remake until you just said the original. I'm like,
don't. I know Michael Keaton's in it, but I could actually like argue like some good things about that. But I mean, maybe we can do that later in the episode. But to get back to my story, I was telling her about, like my music tastes and stuff, and I had said that if I wanted to be in any band growing up, it was going to be Kiss or Alice Cooper, because like you said, you got a stage, use it. Those guys put rock and horror and like comic book live action show with heavy metal. It's fucking amazing. And Honestly, Alice Cooper to me is like the man. I don't give a damn what anybody says about him. Like, I love all his music from all the generations. I mean, shit, dude. Remember when we saw him up at, oh my God.
Penn's Peak.
That's it, yeah. We were like 2 rows away, and he was playing music, obviously, from his latest album, but he played a song from his previous album. And he looked at me because I knew the lyrics to it, and he like pointed at me and gave me like one of those like fist bump, like, yeah, man. I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Alice Cooper made eye contact with me and was probably like, yo, this kid knows the lyrics to my new shit.
Yeah. Honestly, like, even he has a lot of good solid stuff now. Even when he did Welcome to My Nightmare 2, I didn't know what to expect, and honestly, it was just a fun album. It kind of was surprising, like, who he chose to be on there, too. Like, I think the one that caught me off guard the most was Kesha.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, but the song is actually amazing.
Sometimes it's kind of like an actor or a good director that just you need to work with that, like, brings out some of the best in you, or for them to recognize your talent and just say, well, you may not fit with this sort of crowd, but if we bring you in with our genre, it might like bring something out more and bring an interest from other people to you. Kind of like what Run DMC and Aerosmith did, where Aerosmith was on the decline, but then Run DMC did Walk This Way, and they collaborated with them, and then it was kind of like a resurgence for Aerosmith, and a newer generation then was like, hey, what's this Aerosmith band about? And then they went back, and then it kind of like blew up their careers again. It's weird how it kind of worked out that way, but It's true.
I mean, collaborations alone seem to help one or the other. Even if someone had said their pinnacle, and this one, like you said, is on the wow, if I can say the word, decline. It'll actually be like, oh, well, let's check them out now. See how, like, oh yeah, new band.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with movies. Like, for me, well, for us growing up, I remember one thing that helped us out was movies like Batman. Like when Batman Returns came out, I had no idea who Michelle Pfeiffer or Danny DeVito were.
No.
And then I heard, oh yeah, they're playing Catwoman and the Penguin, and it's like, well, who are they? It was one of those. And then when Batman Forever came out, it was like, well, who the hell's Val Kilmer? Lo and behold, I still don't give a fuck who Val Kilmer is.
Oh my gosh.
But I got to know Tommy Lee Jones from it. Obviously, I knew who Jim Carrey was before that. But
yeah, listen, Ace Ventura, hands down, is probably one of his best movies.
I actually like When Nature Calls more than...
I think it had more of the jokes, where it was wow, if I can say the word. The first movie had a lot of adult jokes that went over your head until you got older, so it made it funnier later down the road. Where the second movie was just straight funny all the way through because all the jokes were for everybody.
Yeah.
It seemed like they made it more child friendly, but also kept some of the adult humor in there. Like he was getting caught jerking off.
Yeah. And, I think they're saying she's not a virgin. They can tell that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that confused me because like there was really no scene where he was intimate with her. So
I think it was just the shadows and then like the way it played out.
Yeah.
I did almost buy that Hawaiian shirt he has in the first movie.
Oh my god, really?
Dude, I just saw they issued that one and then the two other ones he had. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I might just buy it. For no reason at all. It's the one where he's wearing in the asylum. Where he's wearing the dress.
Oh, yeah. Next Kid Power super slow-mo.
Second movie got Dan Marino on that.
Yeah, I know, right? Now what, he's co-owner of Anthony's Coal Fire Pizza?
Yeah.
Which, hey, shameless plug. I'm sorry.
Dude, you eat there a lot.
Oh my god, and I got Jackie on Anthony's now. But dude, that's the best.
I know.
You can tell that pizza is so fresh. I mean, they say it's not burnt, it's well done. But it's made with a coal fire grill. Oh my god. It's so good. Like the tomatoes are melted. It's not really sauce. It's just tomatoes on the melted cheese. And then I always get the sausage toppings just because I just think the sausage just adds... Oh, I might get it today.
So you're going to leave here and just go?
Maybe. I got problems.
Dude, hey, everyone enjoys it.
I mean, I know like the overall well done taste isn't for everybody's thing, but really, I think everybody should. It's a little bit on the pricey side, but you're getting what you pay for.
Oh, absolutely. It's worth it.
Oh, hell yeah. Actually, I think you were the one who introduced me to it.
I was going to say that, but I was trying to remember if it was, because I remember Lexi and I going there, and once again, we were like, what the fuck's coal fire pizza?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always interested because I'm a pizza nut, and I prefer, like, now I prefer Anthony's over everything. I just think it's like, plus it's got a really cool atmosphere. It's like got really cool chill tunes to it. It's got like that, like kickback nostalgia with it. Like you see like James Dean and Marilyn Monroe, and then it's got some modern things like Dan Marino or some sports guys in it. So it's very well rounded in there.
Did you go when they actually opened the whole front?
No, I didn't.
I got that. We did once, and it was actually kind of cool because like the whole front of the building flips open like garage doors. And
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and I was like, it caught me off guard because I'm like, wait, so this is just wide open, and it actually was like really cool. So getting that fresh air and then eating pizza.
Yeah, I've always eaten inside just because, I mean, when it comes to eating at a restaurant, no matter what the weather's like, I prefer to eat inside anyway, just because it's like it's a more of a controlled environment. You don't really have to worry about the bugs and everything bothering you, so it's like, and I just like it in there more. But I do know what you're talking about now. And now they like remodeled it on the outside
shit.
By us.
It's been a while.
They still have those doors there, but like I think they did like that whole strip.
Oh yeah, kind of like give it a facelift.
Yeah.
Can't think of the word. But yeah.
So yeah, Anthony's Coal Fire Pizza. We recommend it.
Absolutely.
It's a good time.
So I love the fact that we went from
movies,
talking
music
about Mahoney,
to
maybe
pizza.
you also talk about Alice Cooper. I did defend Kiss last week because everyone was talking shit. I'm like, listen, you're telling me that as soon as like Detroit Rock City or God of Thunder come on, you're not gonna be like, oh, this song fucking blows. No, it's amazing. It's like, dude, that riff that kicks in, and you're like, oh hell yeah,
dude, just Kiss Alive alone. There's like not a bad song on there.
Honestly, I think my favorite album is actually Love Gun because that whole album is a solid one, and it just kind of runs into the next, and it's just very like upbeat.
Really?
Yeah.
Love Gun in general.
Yeah, because dude, that da 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 da.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it does really like suck you in right away. I'd probably have to say overall as a favorite Kiss album, Destroyer hands down is actually my favorite. But like if you just say like any album in general, probably Kiss Alive, just because I listen to that probably more than anything, and I like the first one over all of them. I think there's like 4.
Yeah, I think I have 2 on vinyl.
Yeah, I know like there's one called the Millennium Concert, which was technically like 2000 or something because they had like a Kiss Symphony.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I guess they were calling that Kiss Alive 4, but I don't think Ace was on it, and I don't know what the deal was that went down, but I remember that Millennium concert was supposed to be Kiss Alive 4 originally, because that was like that was supposed to come out around the time they had their farewell tour. Turns out it was actually like the farewell tour with the original 4.
Yeah, that band, it just seems to keep going, and I'm okay with it, because like you said, it's the Face Panthers, it's the music, you're still enjoying it. I'd say even the last 2 albums they put out weren't amazing, but they weren't bad.
No, I still enjoyed what they do. I mean, they're definitely not like what they used to be, and nor do I think they have to be. I think the history of Kiss is more within the show, and they know it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really their bread and butter more than anything, because, I mean, you can listen to the music and go, okay, this is really cool, but it's also kind of like why they did Kiss Alive was because they said, you need to capture what you guys are really capable of. And it's not just the music, it is the visuals. It's, you're seeing the Star Child, the Demon, the Spaceman, the Catman. It was all like, these are the guys that you're seeing. I mean, and I think that's really cool because even guys like Aerosmith and Guns N' Roses, they have such a unique look. Like, Slash and Axl Rose from the top hat, and Axl with his bandana and the flannel shirts that sometimes he wears. Like, they have an iconic look to it. Even their tattoos.
Yeah.
There's like a symbolic image to them that you just stick, and it's like, okay, and when you can hear the music, you pretty much just go to that image right in your head.
I'd say, honestly, it's probably going to get me a lot of hate. I actually prefer Joe Perry when he plays with Alice Cooper in Hollywood Vampires. Because he seems like he's having more fun.
Probably.
It's not about the ego anymore. It's literally like, let's just have some fun. Because that whole band is just fun.
Yeah.
Because, like, the amount of collaboration that is within that band is amazing. And I got to see them, that one tour they did was like 8 shows. And I'm like, they played for 2.5 hours. And we missed like 10 minutes because I'm like, oh, they're probably an opener, and then we're trying to find parking at Bethlehem Steel Stacks.
Oh, yeah.
Huh. So I was like, we got there, they were already playing. I'm like, oh, fuck, man. But it was cool just like seeing the collaboration together, and then like all the bands that came together just to play with Alice Cooper. Like, I feel like it is Alice Cooper's band because he's fronting it, but he's not really fronting it. Like, as you're watching everything play out, yeah, he's just part of it. And each person takes over and sings. It's not like it's just his show. He's like, he even will walk off stage if it's not his song. Like, even when Joe Perry was singing a little bit, he would actually just walk off the side and just kind of hang out so that the spotlight wasn't on him.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly, Johnny Depp plays well. I mean, it caught me off guard. Like, as much as I thought it was Joe Perry playing a lot of this stuff, no, it was Johnny Depp. And that was the one thing that caught me off guard. I'm like, holy fuck.
I remember hearing Alice say that people are always surprised about that, and he was like, no, Johnny can play, man. He can go. And I believe it, because originally, before he was going to be an actor, he was going to be in a band.
I can see why. I know the first album they had was, I think they had 2 original songs, the rest were like covers, but it was really good. The second album's a lot more of original ideas. So if you ever get a chance, I think the second one's called Rise. Obviously, the first one's called Hollywood Vampires. Yeah. The intro with Christopher Lee's amazing.
Okay.
But as I said, if you're getting a chance, if they ever go touring again, go for it, because it's a fun event.
I think I was going to go see him again at Bethlehem Steel or wherever they call that place, but I'll be honest, I'm not really too crazy about that venue. I think we saw Alice Cooper there, and I just didn't like, I don't know, it's just like really gray and it's just got a blah atmosphere. And I was like, okay, I get it, it's part of a casino, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know about this. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, it's definitely not a ghetto, type area. And I guess they are playing more smaller type venues, really, because it's not like this mega phenomenon of a band. But I mean, you'd think that. I mean, it's not 2003 either, where Johnny Depp like had this resurgence in his career where everybody was like knocking down doors to meet the guy again. And I think the one time when you saw him, he was going through like the initial issues with Amber Heard.
Hey, you just might have needed that. Let's just go.
Yeah, just go get away.
Yeah. But honestly, like, I've seen several shows there now, and I think it's just, I enjoy it because of how close it is. Instead of like driving down to Philly or even up to Scranton takes a toll on your body.
Oh, sure. I mean, the convenience, you can't go wrong there. I mean, if you got an itch to scratch, or if you just want to see a band, it's like, yeah, by all means go. It's not a terrible atmosphere, but at the same time, I'm just like, you know.
The funny thing is, I got to see was it 2 bands there, and I ended up getting the tickets for free from Young Ones doing their raffle. And it was just kind of funny because it was a band I wanted to see for a while. They're called Parkway Drive, and finally getting to see them, they ended up playing with August Burns Red, and I think the last one was Devil Wears Prada. So it's like one really big metal show. But it was like cool because I'm like, all right, I saw Alice Cooper there, I saw Hollywood Vampires. I'm like, now I wanted to see what the whole metal. Honestly, it's just as chill. Like I expected craziness, and it wasn't. It had it's like a whole different atmosphere too. And I'm like, wow, kind of catches you off guard when everything's happening.
You mentioned Young Ones. You want to describe what Young Ones is?
Oh, Young Ones is a record store that I deal with a lot because literally it's probably 5 minutes from my house. And honestly, the cool people there, Mark and Chris, I think are the owners. Don't quote me on that, but they are mainly there. They're really cool guys. Even if you got questions about music, they'll talk to you about it, movies. But their main thing is vinyl, and that's where if you follow me on Instagram. Wow, I'm really plugging Instagram right now. You'll see that I actually started letting my daughter choose vinyl because she's obsessed with the record player. Wants to touch it. I'm like, fine, I'll show you what it does. So this started probably 2 months ago now, give or take.
Yeah, with the way time flies,
I know. I don't know. So it's I just open the doors and I'm like, yeah, just choose one, we'll play it. And honestly, it's kind of crazy how she's doing it. It's not based on what the band is. It's the colors that she sees. She gravitates towards Rob Zombie's Sinister Urge album all the time. I'm like, honey, you already listened to this one. Let's try something else. But she'll go, blue. I'm like, no. I'll pull that one out and go, choose a new one. It's every week it's the same process. So I end up pulling that one out and just choose another one. And it's it's the funny thing because I really didn't get into vinyl until probably about, I want to say 5 years ago. And it was one of those things I kept hearing the quality's better. And it was actually Brandon Youse was the one who talked me into it. So finally we got a record player. I picked up a few vinyl. I picked up obviously Black Sabbath. August Burns Red, Found in Faraway Places. And something else. I want to say it was something with Metallica. Don't quote me on that. But it was after listening to the different quality of them. So I did Black Sabbath being one of the older ones. So it's we're repressing, but it was you tell the sound quality. But when I chose to listen to August Burns Red, Found in Faraway Places, I could tell the quality was a lot higher. So it's as time's going on, you can see that the vinyl, they're putting more of a quality into the vinyl, and it sounds amazing.
Oh, absolutely. It's actually kind of funny how the old school stuff, film, is also better quality than digital, really. People don't realize that. Even though 4K is, really amazing, it's still got, a digital quality, and it doesn't capture what film has to it. And I've seen a difference with it. I honestly don't hate either or, old school part of me says, oh, you got to go with film. Because, something about, how celluloid catches stuff, that digital just can't quite do is totally unique and different. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, if the convenience factor is there and you're still getting high grade quality, especially for a filmmaker because it's just cheap, and it just makes making the movie process so easy. It's yeah, by all means, use digital because there's you really can't go wrong with it.
No.
Plus it doesn't make sense to have something that will be on film and then it's going to be digital anyway because we have so many more digital projectors in theaters now, and you're going to buy it digitally whether it's on Blu-ray or 4K anyway. So it's kind of unless you're going to Mahoning or someplace that still has the nostalgia 35mm feel to it, you're really not getting the full effect of film. And vinyl was the same way, it's still better quality. I kind of gravitate to for my birthday recently, Jeff actually got me the Danny Elfman score to the original Batman, which I think is fan-fucking-tastic. I love that soundtrack. I think it's actually Danny Elfman's best music.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other night, because you're sent me a picture, I'm like, oh, shit!
I was yeah, I actually kept that stored away, because I was I don't want this ruined. This is awesome. and I have that on CD, but I do have a record player. I don't have time to just sit down and listen to it. like most of my stuff I'm usually on the go, or I'm editing, or because I'm working rotating shifts, I'm like flip-flopping sleeping schedules, and it really sucks. So I don't really get too much time to just sit down and chill a whole lot, and that's what I'd like to do with that. But if I start a little bit more of a vinyl collection, because I'm pretty sure like I'm gonna inherit my dad's and stuff, and he has like a really cool old school collection from the 70s. But if I was like going to do my own stuff, I'd buy like just the classics of like albums that I loved. It's kind of like how I buy movies on 4K or Blu-ray in general. Like most of the time, if I get something because I have a Vudu account, if it's like an okay thing, I'll just get it for streaming. But if it's my favorite, like Batman or Terminator 2, I'll buy it on 4K and have a hard copy of it.
Honestly, I've been doing that a lot more often, and then plus I've also been doing it like as a steelbook, so it's a little more flashy.
Yeah, gives it a little bit more of a like.
Pizzazz.
I'm gonna keep this.
Then yeah, that's originally how I started. I was like, all right, I'm only gonna get certain ones, and then like now I'm just only sticking with certain bands. Like obviously August Burns Red, I'm sticking with theirs. Parkway Drive, I actually ended up getting the rest of theirs, which is surprising. They reissue a lot of things, but it's only like really short runs, so it might be like 250 to I would say like 1,000, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of cool. So like I just recently picked up the Fog soundtrack for the 40th anniversary.
Nice.
They're talking about reissuing it again, just a different color. I'm like, I don't need another color. I was just more shocked at the reissuing it. Like I talked earlier before we even started recording, I got an email about the reissue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 2 soundtrack on vinyl, and I missed it by a substantial amount of time. But I was like, I should have just. Because I've been trying to keep an eye on that. I actually pick up a lot of soundtracks for horror movies. So like I do have the original Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. So it's like I kind of kept to that. Like I even have the original Aliens and Jaws, which was actually kind of a cool one. But I think now it's becoming an art form, and it's like they're instead of just being matte black, you're getting a lot of wild colors. So like the Friday the 13th was called the Campfire. So if you look at it, it looks like it's orange and yellows and everything kind of going out. So it looks like a fire even when it's spinning.
That's awesome.
I was like, I know there's like multiple versions of it out there. So like there's the Campfire. I think there's a blood version where it's literally a clear thing with red liquid in it. I'm like, yeah, that's actually well played.
That's appropriate.
But even with the Friday the 13th, I didn't want all of them. I only wanted certain key ones. So like I think I have the first one. I think it's the third one
with that disco theme.
Yeah, I think so. I have to look, but I know I definitely have 6 and 7, and those two were the ones I had to find. And then I just recently picked up 8 because I was like, no way. 8
had a unique soundtrack to it. I know, like when you watch 2, 4, and 5. It was pretty much the same thing, like from the first one. 3 had that like little disco jazzy kind of feel to it, and then 6 really went that heavy metal route because 6 was just like totally different movie in general. But
full circle with Alice Cooper.
Yeah, exactly. And then 7 brought a little bit more of it brought it back, but yet it also kind of like was different, and it worked because it was like the rebirth of. Well, I mean, like 6 was like a rebirth of something new and fresh. Like that's why I think, like from like 6 and 7 stand out so much more because I think there was some better quality, if you will, to them. Like
the kills were a little more unique. The story one was a lot better, and it wasn't just like rehashing of movies before. Like I think they got a little too ambitious with 8.
Yeah.
And that's where it might have been its downfall, and obviously we have problems with 9. But 6 and 7 really stand out a lot, because 6 you're getting that whole like summer camp feel, and 7 now they're introducing Kane Hodder as now the goon. So it was like cool, 2 really big things, and like I think they chose more of a better score to go with them too. Mm-hmm. So like even if did Harry Manfredini do 6?
I believe he did.
Because I think he did 7, so it's like he might have just like was like, all right, let's go something totally different with this too. But like you said, it also had a lot more heavy metal into it.
Yeah. Well, I know the director. I'm trying to remember his name. I think his name was Tom something. I can look it up, but but I remember him saying that he was like, you can look at me and it's no kidding that I'm a metalhead, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. Let me just see.
But I would say the only Alice Cooper vinyl I have is for Welcome to My Nightmare. That one is always going to be a fun one to have.
Tom McLaughlin.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Alice Cooper's Welcome to My Nightmare. That's a fucking awesome album.
That one, and then I got
a lot of Babies.
No, I was thinking like I got a lot of Dio.
Oh,
dude, Holy Diver, I think Last in Line and Dream Evil.
Wow, that's one nobody talks about.
Listen, that one's a lot better than everyone expects because like I feel like it got a lot of hate when it shouldn't have. And like even I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this right now. I prefer Dio with Black Sabbath than Ozzy only because I felt like he played with them. He wasn't just a front man. Where Ozzy, I think he's better by himself.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like dude, him and
I think Ozzy's best album was probably Paranoid, with Black Sabbath, honestly. I mean, not that anything he did solo-wise was terrible, but I just think Ozzy had, like, some really good shit with Black Sabbath. And, I mean, solo-wise, I'd probably say Blizzard of Oz is my favorite.
It's a good one, too.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like he had more... I want to say like free will, but he had more of a creative difference, and you could see it like it was kind of like splitting. You could see like when he went his own way, he did his own thing, and I think he got bigger off of it. Where even with Black Sabbath, they're big, but he got even bigger.
Oh yeah, he definitely benefited from being solo, and I think it helped that Sharon, was a big influence with that because she was like part of the music industry or something, I think. So like when she came to like promoting him and finding the talent, I'm pretty sure there was a lot more that she did to help him out that we don't even really know about.
And I mean like shit, even Dio with Sabbath, I love the fact that they even created a band just called Heaven and Hell, because that was actually probably the best album they did. I don't know. Mob Rules is really good.
I was gonna say, like, are you talking about the Heaven and Hell album?
No,
or the Heaven and Hell like band album?
No, the Black Sabbath Heaven and Hell.
Okay, I agree.
It sucks because it's literally just. But it's just crazy. Like our taste in music is always gonna be on the heavy metal side. So like we were saying, like Alice Cooper, Kiss, Black Sabbath, it's always gonna be there. It's gonna be fun, and then where like I don't really care for a lot of anything else.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I listen to a lot of like different genres and stuff, and I can get into it, and I can respect the talent, kind of like what like you were saying about Kesha was with Alice Cooper. It's like, like I'll listen to Lady Gaga songs and go, okay, I can definitely hear the talent in this woman.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't go out of my way to see her at a concert. I mean, unless if I was with somebody and they said, well, I'd really like to see her, and would you go with me? I'd be like, yeah, sure. But, I mean, would I go by myself? No.
Oh, my gosh. I would love it. I'm going to, I heard a show. By yourself?
Maybe I will now just to be like, hey, look where I'm at.
Motherfucker. Now, I'm actually getting excited. Like, now that we're talking about music and... Honestly, I enjoy the streams, but it's not the same feel.
No, it's definitely not.
I just watched Devil Wears Prada just put out their second zombie album. It took them 15 years to do a sequel. That's the only thing I really enjoy from them. But August Burns Red is now on their third. And I'm like, all right, listen, I enjoy them so much, but I just want to be live. The experience is what gets to me.
Well, yeah, it's like how... like when you hear about Kiss and you see the pyro, the makeup, the spitting the blood, and then Alice Cooper with the guillotine and all the other stuff, it's like, it's cool watching it because at least you have that substance to look back on and say like, oh man, that looks like such a fun concert, but I gotta go.
Yeah.
It's always so different when it's there and you gotta go and you gotta see it and you're physically there witnessing it. It's the same thing how I felt with Queen. I was like, damn, man, I would have loved to have seen them.
Oh, my God, absolutely.
It's just because it's kind of like a Guns N' Roses and Aerosmith sort of thing, where it's not really the theatrics, even though, like, in the 70s, they kind of had some with, like, costumes a little bit more, but, I mean, they were just a band that you just felt the energy from them on stage. I mean, Freddie Mercury alone could just carry a whole stadium, which is sickening. I mean,
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, I feel like even that movie they did, the Bohemian Rhapsody, I feel like it only touched a little bit on that. Like his charisma alone on the stage was probably over the top.
Oh my god, yeah.
And like that Live Aid thing was actually pretty cool, like seeing that. And whoever did that, I mean, like they matched it up perfectly. Like the way he was standing, like even the cup on the piano.
I know, right? It was just like to a T. It was like so Stanley Kubrick, where it was like it's gotta be precise. Because especially nowadays, you know somebody's gonna be watching it going, and you know there's something there that's I'm waiting for. If you really want to look it up, somebody's definitely going like, well, they didn't have this here.
Oh, absolutely. That's how it is. Everyone's got to hate on something.
Yeah.
So I feel like we've really got off the topic when you were starting to talk about music, and we've really just ran with it. Yeah. So anyway, back to Mahoning and...
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, wait, we really got that far.
It's a talk show.
Oh, absolutely.
We're keeping it interesting, keeping it real. So follow people.
Listen, don't make me bring up Love Gun again.
Yeah, so last night I did go to Mahoning Drive-In and took my girlfriend Jackie with me, and she never saw RoboCop 1987 before. And I don't know if I mentioned it on the show here, but I got vacation days and I can't use them during the weekend, so it was like... I was like, well, they're playing RoboCop on 35mm for like Tunnel Vision Tuesday or something like that. And I was like, oh, fuck it. You know, I never saw it in the theater. It's one of my favorite movies. I really dig it. It's a classic for a reason. And so I just happened to say to her, I was like, would you be interested in coming with me to see this? And I was like, if you don't want to, I understand. And she said, no, I'll go. So then it was a beautiful night. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. The moon was out. And the stars were out. I mean, it was nice because it was like 79 degrees originally, and then it got cooler, and of course Mahoning's up in the mountains.
Oh yeah, it's like when you're up there, it just dips no matter what. It could be like 900 degrees, but when that sun goes down,
sweatshirt, blanket. But you couldn't have asked for a nicer night, and it was really cool and nostalgic seeing RoboCop on 35mm. That was a lot of fun.
That's the one thing I really enjoy about it. They try to do as much 35mm as possible, and I think that's why I definitely keep going back. It's the atmosphere, it's the fact that they keep trying to get 35mm. I mean, like, even VHS Fest, I'm sorry.
The chopping wall?
Yeah. Oh, I can't handle. Speaking of VHS Fest, you finally forced Jackie into watching that?
I did. Well, I kind of did it for you, actually, because the deal was... As you said, I got a homework assignment for you. So my girlfriend, Jeff, kept saying to her, I got an assignment for you. You got to watch Shopping Mall. I watch it every Black Friday.
I do.
So, and I don't know what exactly it was that prompted you to like demand her watch that. But
I think it's because we were talking about it, and I could see on her face that she had no clue what the fuck we were talking about. And I think that's what prompted the whole thing, because I'm like, listen, you're either A, going to hate me forever, or B, you're just going to understand that this movie is what it is.
But yeah, the one night we watched it, it was on Amazon Prime.
Absolutely, dude. I think it's always on there.
I was so surprised because I was like, if you don't want to watch this, I totally understand. But she's like, no, let's check it out. And she got a kick out of it. She knew what it was, and she sat through the whole thing. And as a joke, I sent these guys a text message that said, so Jackie and I watched Shopping Mall, and I can officially change my status to single, and I'm going home now. and of course, John Rochetter goes, wait, what? No! Like, I'm joking, John.
But I think what was even funnier, when Jackie told Lexi that she watched, she goes, are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
I didn't even watch it. I'm like, I've tried.
Well, then she told me that Lexi sent her a text saying, whatever you do, don't let Colin have you watch Samurai Cop. So I said, all right, just the trailer.
Yeah.
No, we wound up watching, I think it was Chris Stuckman's review. And she got a kick out of it, especially the wig scene where the wig comes off and they put it back on. Dude, and she said, okay, yeah, That was enough.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
Dude,
like,
I
that's
think the
fair
scene in the
enough.
hospital probably would have is all the clip that anybody ever
Oh
needs
my
to see.
god.
The ooh.
Yeah. Ooh.
But so that was Jackie's first time seeing Traffic Ball.
Yes.
This was the first time she got to see RoboCop.
Yes.
Now, did she actually really enjoy it, or was it more or less just, oh, I'm gonna say I enjoyed it because of Colin?
She enjoyed it.
That's actually pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. There were even parts in the movie where she was like, I don't want to say exactly raising her fist, but that's just the analogy.
Yeah.
Like one was when RoboCop put the spike in Clarence Boddiger's neck at the end. She was all like, "Yeah, he got what he deserved."
Right, dude. That's actually a fucking amazing scene.
It is, especially because he's like all trapped there, and it's like, no, like here's your chance. You know, he had like 2 previous chances before, and then the prime directives kicked in the first time, and then he's just staring him down with the gun, and then the steel beams fell on him, and it's like, no, they're taking this away from him. This poor guy, he's lost his life, he's lost his family, he comes back as this Frankenstein monster sort of thing. And now the fucking shitbag asshole is gonna kill him again? It's like, no, fuck this guy. And, man, in the jugular? Oh, yeah. And then lo and behold, he becomes Red Foreman then.
I know, dude. Dumbass.
But it was funny. I was telling her that my favorite scene was coming up. And I think she really enjoyed that scene a lot, too. And it's the scene where he meets the he's out on patrol the first night, and he sees the 2 guys getting ready to rape the woman around the dark alleyway, and he says, "Hey, you better let the woman go, you're under arrest." And they're all like, "Oh, you better back up, pal. Hey man, he's gonna kill her." He breaks out that Beretta 93R, and for anybody who doesn't know, a Beretta 93R is, at that time, it was like Beretta 92 FS is like the standard for police officers. Like, it was made famous in Lethal Weapon. It was the gun that Mel Gibson had and Bruce Willis had in Die Hard. So it was pretty standard. And a 93R is basically the same thing, except it has a 3-round burst to it. You can change it to a single shot or a 3-round burst. So it's basically like an automatic pistol. And they just kind of like gave it this compensator to give RoboCop a bigger gun for the look and aesthetic to suffice for the outfit.
But you think the size of RoboCop, he needed a bigger gun. Like, a normal sized gun would not look...
Well, on a side note, you know, in the office scene with the Ed 209, when it shoots the one, the guy that throws the business guy?
Yeah.
That Desert Eagle was supposed to be RoboCop's.
Really?
Because it was a bigger gun, it would have fit the costume. But here, and if you know, a Desert Eagle is a big handgun. But it was too small looking for RoboCop.
Oh my gosh.
That's why they changed the look in the 93R and put that big compensator on it. And they even said, can you make it look like a sarcophagus? So if you look at it closely, it kind of looks like a casket, which I thought was even cooler yet, that they incorporated something like that. So when he breaks out his 93R, he actually aims at the guy, and they have the woman in front, and he very carefully shoots and aims and shoots the fucker's dick right off.
Dude, that 3-round burst right in the dick.
And dude falls straight to the ground, and RoboCop just looks at the other guy and says, "Your move, creep." Man, she was like, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, they got what they deserved.
Fuck yeah, they did. And a little side note, a little trivia about myself, actually, is I have a Beretta 92 FS. I love that gun. It's like one of the best guns I ever have. And some guys, I know some people might find this corny or cheesy or whatever, but some people do name their guns. I named that one Murphy because of RoboCop.
Makes sense. It's fitting.
There's actually a lot of people that name their guns, and I know that one I did. I was like, what's a good name for this? Especially because it's just easier to say Murphy instead of, I'm going to take my Beretta 92 FS out with me today. But that gun's smooth, too, man. That's a nice shot.
Honestly, I have the Beretta Nano. Mine's McLean, and but it's a Beretta. It's smooth all the way through. Even for a smaller gun, it works. It's really compact. It's You can notice it if you're really on top of the person. But other than that, like, I've had no issues with it.
Yeah, I don't either. I even have a little Beretta for a little concealed carry, too, that I like carrying around with me.
Oh, my gosh.
But no, that's a smooth shot as well, and I like having that. But yeah, overall, that was really cool watching that on 35mm. And also, that was the original theatrical version.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, because the director's cut's been made through digital, like on DVD and Blu-ray and stuff. And I've seen it done to death.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Hundreds of times over, because I do love the movie. And I've seen, like, the Peter Weller torso where the bullet actually goes through the head when he gets shot and killed, and the arm actually getting blown off. The dude in the office getting blown away by the Ed 209. You see more of the squibs, just like the bullet holes just taking him out. It's like, whoa. So now we got the censored version, which isn't terrible, really. I mean, there's not that much of a difference, but the director's cut just shows a little more violence. And
yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really change anything to the story. And I don't know. I mean, it was still fun to watch, but I don't think it added anything different other than a unique experience, really.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, that's why I love going to Mahoning, like I said, because of 35mm. I'm actually going next week for Zombie Fest.
There you go.
I did want to try for the Thursday night because it's Dawn of the Dead, but they've got two of the actors there. It's the main woman, the blonde woman who was pregnant, and the guy, the pilot's buddy, so Ken Voorhees' partner, pretty much.
Okay.
And I was like, they're going to be there Thursday and Friday. I'm like, but I'm going Saturday. I'm like, son of a bitch. But I was like, I would have loved to see Dawn of the Dead with them because, like, I figured they're probably going to be talking a little bit through it.
Sure.
Which, honestly, I'm starting to enjoy more. Is, like, more or less, like, finding out about the movie as I'm watching it. So, like, I always bring up Last Drive-In because it's the same thing. He talks about it. And, like, there's a lot of, like, stuff behind it I always love just hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you know, I'm a really big George Romero fan, so it makes it even better.
Yeah.
But Lexi's never seen that movie Zombie, the Lucia Fulci.
Yeah.
So that's actually the movie we're going to go see. She's probably going to fucking hate me.
Yeah.
Because you talk about, like, Jackie actually watching Chop Them All, like, I think it's because of the trade-off is I will pick really fucked up movies to go watch. And it's like, she just goes up because, like you said, it's the atmosphere, and she just loves spending the time with me. And I have a thing for zombies. That's all it is.
And that's fine. I mean, like, I have a wide range of, like, whatever I like to watch. I know 80 slashers are usually my go-to thing, and there are only, like, so many that are actually worth watching.
Dude, just, you guys got to see it in theaters. I got to see it at Mahoning, was the original Friday the 13th.
Yes.
It's like, that one I would always say just go see because it's a fun movie to watch, and it, I want to say, was a little ahead of its time. Like, even with being on a par with Halloween, like, the POV killer, the trying to hide everything, it kind of was amazing. And then the big reveal is what gets it every time.
Yep.
And talk about big reveals, sleepaway camp.
Yeah. So I don't know if I call that a big reveal.
Oh my gosh. We had the opportunity to meet Felissa Rose, and she's an amazing actress. Amazing person, actually.
I gotta say, like, I don't want to cut you off, but I mean, as far as a person goes, I mean, Jeff and I had the opportunity to meet her at the Horror Sideshow Market out in Lehigh Valley.
Yeah. You
couldn't have met a more amazing person that took their time, talked to fans, and just showed genuine appreciation. And even it was just kind of like a bullshit everyday kind of conversation. Like, oh yeah, I was in a movie. You guys had questions. What'd you think about this and that? It was awesome. Like, she was just a humble person.
Honestly, I didn't even know what to expect when we got up there, and I'm just like, and she just started talking to us like she'd known us for years. Like,
I know, yeah.
And that's what caught me off guard. I'm like, yeah, this woman is really genuine, and then I enjoyed that, and I love the fact though. I was wearing a Sleepaway Camp shirt. She's like, wait, you're a fan of Sleepaway Camp? I go, yeah, who wouldn't be? I'm like, it's a typical slasher. She's like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But that was like the funniest thing because like, yeah, like that movie is a typical slasher flick, and that's what it is. I'm like, it is the ending that you're like, what the fuck am I watching?
That is the thing that gets you and goes, what? And I don't even think it's also the reveal. It's also that like weird mannequin that they use with
no, that's a real guy.
Oh, it is a real guy?
A guy wearing a mask. It was I think they said it was a student. They just paid him like a couple $100. Like, hey, just put this mask on. We'll take a quick shot.
Wow.
Oh, she later joked on Casual Friday that that's the reason that Angela was killing people because the dick was so small. But yeah, like even she knew what it was. Cause like, dude, she ended up doing what, 2 more sequels, and then is very adamant about doing a remake.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear about how she's all for it. But you know what? People get the bad... reboots have a bad taste, in everybody's mouth, and rightfully so because they're not done right. But really, I think there's really no problem to me with reboots. I mean, the idea of them is totally fine, but they got to be done right. I mean, there was shit that was just done for money. Like Nightmare on Elm Street was a total fucking train wreck. You could tell it was just done for money. I think there was
Psycho alone.
Psycho. I mean, but in some ways I can kind of understand Psycho because it was like, well, how do you make a classic like that better?
You don't.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, did it need an update? No. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street is a movie that you could probably do shot for shot remake, and with a better budget and give it a little more substance.
A little pizzazz.
Yeah, a little pizzazz, because there's really nothing more that you can do to make that movie better other than clean it up because it didn't get proper treatment right away.
No. I think the thing with remakes or reboots or whatever, if they are remaking a movie entirely, you got to bring something new to the table, but don't totally fuck up the story that it pisses everybody off.
Exactly. And
like, you've already heard my feelings about Pet Sematary and how they totally fucked that up. But that was the thing, like, they tried to bring something new to the table, but they kind of, like, took away from the story itself, and that was the problem.
Here's another... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I would say, but the only other one that I'm going to always praise is going to be the Amityville Horror. Because it literally kept on par with the original, but also showed some new things with the ghosts. And that's what they should have alluded to even more. So, like, yeah, Ryan Reynolds in a horror movie, I did not expect him to do a good job.
Deadpool?
I'll say 2 guys grilling a pizza place.
Yeah.
I remember that. Dude, that's how old we are. But that's what I wasn't expecting. Like, he did several horror movies, actually. And I'm not going to talk about Blade Trinity.
Yeah,
but
no.
He did one called Voices where he literally played 3 characters. He played himself, a dog, and a cat. And he did 2 different voices for each animal. But they were literally the voices in his head.
Okay.
But it like I said, brought back to that. It brought something new to the table. So that's what I think they should do. But not totally fuck it up completely. Like, I think they were a little too ambitious with Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't even
think ambitious is a word.
Well, I was thinking like they tried keeping on par, but they tried putting too much new. But they also played up the pedophilia way too much.
Oh yeah, that was out without a doubt.
It took me days, even months, to figure out why that movie fell off. And I was like, that's what it was. I said a little too ambitious.
I think it was just not constructed right at all. I mean, like you said, they focused on the pedophilia way too much. They didn't even talk about child murder, which is a big thing. They didn't make Freddy feel like a monster. He felt more like a victim. And on top of it, the glove is so iconic, and it was like there was like hints of it, and it wasn't even like because there was no child murder. It was like, so what, is he using it as like a fucked up S&M tool? And then, as a ghost he uses it to kill people? I was like, this isn't clicking here. When the first one, it's so fluid that, like, he's using it as a weapon. It's a tool. There's little hints and subtleties of pedophilia. But it told a story that you got it. I mean, that one, it's just a clusterfuck of what is going on. There was cool things like the micro naps. Yeah. Like they incorporated that. I'm glad they didn't do the chest of souls thing. I mean, I think it's a really cool special effect, but I always hated the idea that Freddy captured souls.
I could see, like, fueling him, but there's no point. When you later found out that he's a demon, spoiler alert, because we never even talked about Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, well, we're saving it, especially now we upset Jen Harding.
Oh my god, dude. I'm still blaming John for that one.
We're always going to blame John for that. Jen Harding got upset because we didn't invite her for Monster Squad.
I didn't realize she was that big of a fan until...
Sorry, Jen.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So we'll bring her on for Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't know if we should talk about the whole series with her or just...
We could do the whole series.
Yeah, because I know she's a Dream Warrior fan. So.
Absolutely. Because, like, we did everything as a whole, like Friday the 13th and Halloween. We didn't really cut off ourselves at the knees like I thought we were going to, because, like, the only movies we talked about fully were Halloween 3, and then kind of, like, went over everything. We still left an opportunity to open the door for just actually talking about single movies specifically. Like, obviously, I would love to talk about just original Halloween by itself.
Oh, sure. There's so much behind the scenes stuff that, you know, like, we didn't talk about, or, like, the more, like, value that first movie actually has, or even value in, like, some of the other sequels, like how we talked about Halloween 3 has value in itself, and that it's misunderstood, and it's really more of an entertaining movie that makes it good, rather than it actually being a good movie. You know, like, I find the entertainment value with it, and I think that's where people, like, if they listen to me, they kind of get conflicted by what I say, where they're like, well, it sounds like you like it, but yet you don't. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's kind of like a black and white area, but it's like, I respect it for what it is. I enjoy Tom Atkins' performance, and
Yeah, he's the stand-up performance.
Oh, absolutely.
And we always joke with him about always drinking and smoking. I'm like, dude,
it's true.
Dude, if you look at The Fog, Halloween 3, and
Night of the Creeps.
Night of the Creeps, those three stand out for that whole thing. Like, dude, it seemed like every time he had a beer.
Yeah. I think even in a Maniac Cop, he was at least smoking a Maniac Cop.
I was like thinking about Lethal Weapon, like, was he? No, he was drinking orange juice or milk.
Yeah, it's because of the robots in Halloween 3. Because they bleed orange juice.
I'm trying to think, even in Creepshow, I don't remember he was Dick Dead.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, that is an amazing movie.
Creepshow.
Yeah. And that one is always going to be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that
it's
was
an
the
anthology movie.
Yeah.
It's different because it tells so many different stories, and I think it's fun when they do that, as long as they do them right.
Yeah, I'd say you don't get too many anthology movies that are really good all together. Like, I've seen probably like 2 or 3 that really stand out. Obviously, Creepshow. Trick or Treat's another one that always does it. A weird one that it's a fun watch, but it's really weird, is Chillerama. It's
I don't think I ever saw that.
Pretty much the last night at a drive-in, and they're showing like 4 or 5 different movies, but each movie is the short story. So
okay.
I know Adam Green's did one with Kane Hodder in there. It was for was it World War II? Pretty much like they designed a Jewish Frankenstein to kill Hitler.
Okay.
Which is Kane Hodder. But it was kind of funny. Like they introduced like a lot of jokes, but they also did try to keep the horror aspect to it, and I enjoyed it.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, anthology, like we were talking about reboots and stuff, you know, it's you got to be very careful with it because you're telling so many stories and it's got to work, you know, or else the whole thing doesn't. Like, honestly, I mean, I enjoy Creepshow up until like the very last part of the anthology with the old guy and the cockroaches and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's just lackluster, and it kind of sucks because that's the last one. I'm like, oh, well.
Yeah, you can kind of skip it.
Yeah, really.
Because then it just ends with the trash guys, Tom Savini, discovering that the comic book had all the stuff cut out of it. It was for the voodoo doll for Tom Atkins. Honestly, that's one documentary I'm surprised to let you borrow. It's Last Dessert, or Just Desserts, and it's literally just about Creepshow.
Oh, okay.
And they actually got Tom Atkins to stand in front of the house, and they asked him questions.
No shit.
It was actually really cool.
Okay.
Like, it took me forever to find it. Found it at a horror movie convention. Because it's like that's the one thing I enjoy about horror movie conventions is you can find stuff that you're looking for. Like, now that we've been to like a lot of them, I know Lexi and I are becoming more of we're looking for specific items. It's not just like, let's go buy everything.
Yeah.
Now it's like, all right, let's find stuff that we were looking for. Like, I found the one box set for George Romero. It's called Between Night and Day, or Night and Dawn, and it's all the movies he did between Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead.
Okay.
And like the Crazies is in there. I think it's like The Scent of Vanilla and Season of the Witch. I've never seen those movies. I've obviously seen the Crazies, but I've never seen the other ones. And I'm like, well, shit, I can't find it. I'm like, found it, and like, honestly, Season of the Witch was kind of a weird movie, but it was still enjoyable because like it was something new. And it really was kind of like a slow burn, and then once it started picking up towards the end, it's like, oh shit, this is a lot more going on than I expected. I think it's pretty much what I've been going for. It's not like just the autographs now. It's just more or less like the atmosphere.
Yeah, and the Q&As, I've come to really appreciate the Q&As a hell of a lot more. I think sometimes if you don't really want to do the meet and greet stuff, I think waiting there to see the scheduled like talk with them is just as good.
Oh,
really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's in a lot of ways it's kind of what you do when you meet them anyway. It's like you get the picture, you get the autograph, and then you talk a little bit, introduce yourself, maybe ask them personal questions, and sometimes they just go to a table and they say, hey, we'll take questions and answers and have them tell stories or whatever, and they do it for an hour or whatever it is, and it's really cool. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean,
I also love hearing like their ideas for like sequel concepts and stuff that never happened, and sometimes you go, damn, man, it's actually better than what we got.
I know. I'm still curious about Andre's sequels to Monster
I
stuff.
know. How much time you got when he said that? It was like, damn, so he's thinking about it?
I know, man. I would love to watch it still.
Me too. I don't see why we couldn't. In some ways, we're kind of coming up with something like that.
I'm excited for that,
for the podcast.
Yeah.
There's so many things that go through my head, especially now, and I think a lot of like especially for us, I think it'd be really neat to see that tribute kind of stuff right now. Especially because the reboot thing, like we said, is like got a stain of not being good. But there's been some that are even better than the originals. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head.
I was going to ask, like, what are you thinking? Because
there are some. I just can't think of it right now.
I'm going to say one that I think I brought up before where it keeps on par is going to be Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead as in also. Like, those two, like, Evil Dead with Bruce Campbell is always going to be amazing. It's going to be actually my favorite out of the three because it introduced me to that character and it showed me that horror can be really fucked up.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Where that series ended up becoming more of a comedy series with horror injected into it. And then when they finally did that remake, it brought it back to the horror aspect that it really was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still just as fucked up. I probably said it even in the Evil Dead episode that movie, when people ask me, like, what's the most fucked up movie you'll ever see, and I'm like, that's the one I go to because it blows your mind. I saw that in theaters, and it's still like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Well, another thing that I feel like is a missed opportunity is that we used to have a time where if the first one was like an okay success, but it told a story, you could hit the ground running and maybe the sequel could pick up and make it better. Kind of like how Dream Warriors picked up where Nightmare on Elm Street left off. Like, really, you could kind of skip 2.
Yeah, you could.
And go straight to Dream Warriors and go, okay, that's, it tells a story, it keeps some fluidity going.
And so even with that, with New Nightmare, like, those three together could tell just one story.
And technically, that's like the Wes Craven trilogy of the Elm Street series because he had nothing to do with 2. He helped write 3, and I think he produced 3, and then he did New Nightmare. And honestly, those 3 to me are the best. And I've even heard him say, like, you gotta keep something new and bring some more lore to it. Like, I always thought, and I'll be honest, like, I don't think Robert Englund really would, at this point, do Freddy Krueger at all anymore. I've heard him say that the guys who do the makeup cost way too much now, like, almost more than him. I know he's in his 70s, and it's just going to be way too much. Like, I'd welcome an animated movie, with him doing because the voice is so iconic yet that it would still work. I think there should still be, even though New Nightmare is a really good bookend to the Elm Street series with Robert Englund's Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
I still think they should come up with something a little bit more better than what Freddy's Dead was. That was just a fucking waste. 5 and 6 were a waste in that series. But I think there's actually something there that you might be able to do, like a Halloween 2018, that maybe if you want, do something after 4. Maybe you can even skip 4 and just go straight to Dream Warriors.
Just jump from Dream Warriors to now.
Yeah, and I was thinking, I think it would really benefit if you had that time between, like, let's just skip 4. and go Dream Warriors to Freddy vs. Jason, because it looked like at one point he came back. And the parents of that early 2000 era finally started listening and said, okay, we got to contain Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
And I was coming up with an idea that, like, what brought him back. And I don't know if I should, like, actually say it, but, because, I mean, who knows what would actually happen. But I thought that would be the good time to say something like that, and then give it, like, that little more Freddy's Dead final nightmare movie in between that, and then have him and Jason be the last one.
Yeah.
For, like, the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Because there is this, like, huge gap of, like, so what happened? Like, why are the parents now all of a sudden going, like, well, we got to keep him contained, don't say anything, and, you know, to, like, the kids or the school, and then the dad with the asylum, and they're feeding the kids all the hypnosil pills and stuff. It's like there's so much unexplained, and there's a big gap that it's like there's an opportunity for one more with Robert Englund there, and then that could be, like, the end, basically.
Yeah.
And we know so much more about demonology now, and a little more open-mindedness to that kind of thing, that you could make it be like the town is more into, like, okay, maybe we should start taking this kind of stuff seriously, because if there's a heaven, there's going to be a hell, and if there's angels and there's demons, so why can't he be like this?
Oh, yeah.
And the cops are in on it, so, I mean, there's a perfect opportunity to tell a story within there. And I have something in mind, but like I said, it probably would just be animated at this point. I mean, if you do, it would have to be with somebody else.
And he's hard to replace. He is very, I said before, charismatic, and just the way his performance is, it is.
It's iconic. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've often thought, what would I rather watch, Freddy's Dead or Nightmare on Elm Street 2010?
Freddy's Dead. Yeah,
I know, and that's...
At least you're getting Alice Cooper in there.
Yeah, we got Alice Cooper, and we got Robert Englund. And that's a sad one to say.
Honestly, I think the fun thing about Freddy's Dead is the whole, like, 3D effect, because, like, like, it has no importance to the movie, but it's just a fun thing.
Oh, man, that was horrible.
Then you put them on now.
Yeah. They actually had to tell them that in the theater. When Lisa, what's her name?
I don't know.
Lisa Zane. When Lisa Zane puts the glasses on, that's when you put them on. Really?
I think I did it when, like, leading up to Freddy vs. Jason, I actually watched everything together. And when I actually watched the 3D version of that, it was just kind of cool, but it wasn't, like, anything fantastic.
Yeah, it wasn't Avatar type stuff.
No.
You ready for it, boy?
One man that could be in Friday the 13th and
absolutely
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Let's get him in the new Halloween movies.
Might as well.
Right?
Fuck it, man.
I mean, hell, he was in Dark Shadows.
Yeah, that was a good movie too.
He was also in Prince of Darkness, wasn't he?
Yeah, he played a hobo that killed.
So he was with some John Carpenter too.
Yeah. I don't think you need to be in it. I think
Alice Cooper because it's Alice Cooper. And he's like the only rock star really that's done it. I mean, I know Ozzy's been in a movie with Gene Simmons, but it was like, what, a 5-second cameo?
Dude, they were bad. That movie was so bad.
Dude,
Ozzy played a priest, and I can't remember what Gene Simmons played, but all I remember was Ozzy being a priest. I'm like, really?
Imagine that sermon. Take your bread, Christ.
Oh my gosh.
Probably has to sing just so everybody can understand.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. He cannot talk, but he can sing really
like
well.
A motherfucking champ, man.
Oh my gosh.
That's his superpower.
Yeah. What the fuck did he just say to me? I don't know, but he sings amazing.
Was it the Lord's Prayer? Could you imagine that?
No.
Father who art in heaven.
Well, on that note.
Yeah.
So, like, with us going to Monster Mania this weekend, obviously Miss Harding's going to be there, so we're gonna have to definitely make it up to her. But is there certain like specific you're looking for? Because I know, like, obviously we're gonna do the Tom Atkins. Past that, it's kind of like
I'm
whatever.
looking forward to meeting Christy Swanson actually.
I think that'll be cool. Like I said, I thought it was funny. Like after that whole thing with you on Twitter,
yeah,
her,
I had a little.
And all of a sudden we
Twitter
saw that, I was like, no shit, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, like I actually think she's a talented actress. I think it's really cool that she seems really down to earth too. Like I don't expect her to be any like stuck up and whatnot. And for anybody who doesn't know, I mean, like what happened was on Twitter it was like a little bit of she gets very political at times, and that's all right because we're entitled to our opinions and stuff. But I got more offended that somebody said something about her career, and I was like, just because she's not an A-list celebrity doesn't mean that she doesn't have a career.
Yeah.
Like you can act in TV or wherever, and it's still a career. Maybe she might even do stuff behind the scenes. I hate to tell them, but people keep saying like, oh, these people that go to those cons, they're all washed up, and it's like, no, they're not. They still have lines. They make at least a minimum of $30,000 for three days.
Yeah.
So you guys can suck it if you think that it's just for washed up has-beens, because no, it's not.
I know some of them will actually use it to help put money towards a project they're on.
There's that.
I know, because when I saw met George Romero, that's what he was putting it towards. Whatever money he made that weekend was actually going to go towards whatever project he was working on. And it's smart to do because, like, yeah, you're going to make a decent amount because they're not going to lie because, like, it's, what, $40 for the cheapest?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, they're going to make a decent amount. Whatever cut Monster Mania has to pull out and whatever, but they're still going to make bank.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it's like a combination of like the actual people at the convention pay them, and then plus there's like a little bit of a you get some, like they get some of like your autographs and stuff, and like the convention gets some of the like I don't know how exactly it works, but I just remember hearing somebody who was an actress say that she could have been on like NCIS or something for a week or 2 weeks, and she got paid more for doing a convention for 3 days than she would if she would do like 8 12-hour shifts of 2 weeks of work.
Yeah.
So that says a lot. And what people don't understand about those conventions is, yeah, that's good money and it's a good way to like network, really. So, I just wanted to like say like that's the story about Christy Swanson, and I just like defended her with her career and like get people more knowledgeable of like what that was really about. And that's really what it came down to.
And if you don't know who Christy Swanson is, she is the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes, she is.
Honestly, that movie is I just saw it again recently. I think it was actually last October, because I was sitting there, I'm like, I have it. And I got it mainly after Luke Perry died. Okay. And I was like, all right, I haven't seen it since I was, I can't even remember. I was young. I remember my sister watching it, and I watched it with her.
I saw it at a drive-in.
That was actually
back in the day, yeah.
And so I watched it again recently. I'm like, yeah, this is a lot better than I remember. I mean, like,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I'm like, now I understand why she got replaced by Sarah Michelle Gellar, but I'm like, I still prefer her over.
That show was totally different than what that movie was. So I don't know what the thinking of was it with exactly, because I never looked into it. But it's two totally different dynamics. Also, she was, you're gonna laugh at this, there was a sequel to Mannequin, and Christy Swanson was in that, so of course I know about that.
Of course.
Both were shot in Philly, by the way.
Which is still badass.
Yep. And she was in cameos like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I think she was part of some John Hughes stuff. I think she was like one of the girls in the classroom that said something about like what happened to Ferris.
Oh.
And there was a movie she was in that really kind of like hit me. It was called Flowers in the Attic. It was based off of a book.
Is that where the mom is keeping the kids in the attic? And, like,
yes.
Okay.
And she's like slowly feeding them rat poison on cookies or something. That's fucked up.
Dude, I remember that one too. Damn.
Yeah, she was the older sister in it. I mean, that book is like really fucked up too, but that movie, I was like, wow, that's some sick shit. I mean, fucking with kids like that alone, it's just, that's horrible.
Yeah, dude. I don't understand that fucking shit.
I mean, I watched it once and I was like, I don't know, but
Honestly, I thought they were talking about remaking that recently too.
I think they did with Heather Graham in it.
Okay. So maybe that's what
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But yeah, that movie, like, yeah, that mind fucked me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I remember her in that, and I also remember thinking, damn. I mean, it's not hard to get a crush on Christy Swanson.
No.
As far as other things, I saw Doug Bradley's going to be there.
He's actually a really cool guy.
Yeah. Adrienne Barbeau was another one that seems interesting.
Honestly, I think we were talking about this last week before we did the episode with Kelly. Honestly, like, I'm with having a 2-year-old now, and we're taking her to this stuff. It's like it's kind of hard to do all the waiting.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm like, Lily, all I'm gonna do is Tom Atkins, and that's the only waiting I'm gonna have to be able to do. But I'm like, yes, I want to meet Christy Swanson and Adrienne Barbeau. I'm like, but if it's astronomical, I'm like, cool, whatever, we'll enjoy everything.
Sometimes it depends on just the timing of the line, I noticed.
Yeah, and that will be actually pretty cool. I'd love to meet her, but time permitting.
Yeah.
Doug Bradley, I've met him before, and he seemed like really genuine too. Like, he had he doesn't have an ego. He plays one of the biggest like villains, but he's really not even a villain. If you think about it, like he has a job.
Yeah, that's how I felt about Pinhead as well. Like, I didn't think he was like a villain hardcore, like out to kill you just because he was evil and twisted him and that's what he wanted to do. Like, especially in the sequel, he kind of, like the second one, he kind of turns. And doesn't he like wind up saving him in the end anyway? He
saves Kirsty. Or is it Christy? Same difference.
Yeah.
But it's his job. Like every other slasher, villain, whatever, that's not their job. Pinhead and the Cenobites, that's their job. That's what they gotta do. And you're the one opening the puzzle box to
release them.
Yeah, and it's your fucking fault.
Yep.
So it's like, I feel like the first 2 movies in that series are amazing. Past that, it's yeah. And yeah, he's cool. I actually would love to meet the woman that plays Kirsty. I think her name is Ashley.
Ashley Lawrence. Yep.
Yeah, I'd love to meet her. She's a painter now.
Oh, that's cool.
I thought that was actually pretty cool finding that out. I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh, the woman from Halloween 3 is gonna be there. What's her name?
Oh, Stacey Nielsen. Yeah.
That was
John's excited to meet her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Poor John.
He's gonna walk up to her with a heart on, and they're gonna call the cops on him.
I might call the cops on this fucking weirdo.
If we have to stand in line with him, we gotta make sure we stand behind him.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see like what. It also depends on how I feel, because I feel like I'm on 10 to 6 this week, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be working that Friday night, and I'm going to head down that morning, so it's going to be a long day for me. That's why afterwards, I think they said they're playing Creepshow in the Fog at the Colonial Theater.
Yeah.
And Tom Atkins and Stacey Nielsen Tom Atkins and Adrienne Barbeau are going to be there.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, damn, why?
I know, right? It's like, oh, son of a bitch. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to work Sunday morning at 6 a.m. So I'm like, yeah, so I'm like, well, I think I'd probably stay if the Fog was first. Just because I prefer that one over Creepshow. Not that I hate either or, but I would just rather...
it's a linear story instead of an anthology.
Yeah.
So kind of. Plus,
John Carpenter, too.
Yeah.
And cast. You got Jamie Lee Curtis and Janet Leigh in it. I think that'd be a cool movie to see in the theater.
Yeah.
And plus, that's what Adrienne Barbeau and Tom Atkins did first before Creepshow together. So...
Adrienne Barbeau.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So all of a sudden you said that, I'm thinking of the crate Creepshow. Harry. But honestly, like, I know they're actually gonna have stuff for The Conjuring 3 there with Warner Brothers.
I did see that. I also saw something about a Rocky Horror production.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's
okay.
Kid 2. I think they're gonna play some of the greatest hits.
Yeah, I don't think they're actually gonna do the show. They're just gonna like stand up and perform the music. So I think that's really cool. That's kind of like what John and I did on Halloween last year.
Okay.
Like at the Bucks County Playhouse, they just kind of like had a couple singers in a band, and they just performed Halloween type songs, and of course they played a bunch of Rocky Horror.
Oh yeah, and that's the best thing to do because like honestly that score itself, soundtrack itself, it has a lot of iconic ones in there. So it's
God, yeah. I mean, I pretty much play that like every October. I think I even saw Slash on Facebook or Twitter years ago say, "I hear Rocky Horror on the radio. You know Halloween's coming." You know, and Slash said that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's really cool.
I know that game I played, Mixtape Massacre, is going to be there, and they're huge horror fans too. That whole game is based on 80s horror. So I think they're on, their 4th or 5th expansion for it. But they also have a second game, which is, the first game is all about playing the slasher and killing your victims, where the second game is playing the victims trying to fight back.
Okay.
You can actually put them together and make one big game.
Kind of like the Friday the 13th game in a way.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't you like flip-flop with that?
Yeah, like, what is it? Well, this is actually a board game. That one's actually a video game.
Okay.
This board game is, honestly, I forget how I actually discovered it, and then all of a sudden, we went to a horror movie convention. I started talking to them about it, and then I ordered the game in its first expansion, and then it was actually really cool, like playing it, like reading through it, and like you could see, like I sent Colin and John a picture of a couple of the cards because you can tell that they're fans of like horror movies and 80s movies in general. I was laughing because the one I sent them was from Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
It was like, really, this is in here? But my favorite card, actually, like Lexi and I did a date night. We played the new game, and one of the cards was a rock, paper, scissors, and the loser had to fight the slasher. I'm like, no fucking way, that's like a fuck you card.
Yeah.
And I actually posted that on Instagram, and they actually reshared it because I just said date night, and then I had both the expansion and the game there, and I'm like, wait, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
But it's a fun game. I'd say definitely check them out. Wow, it's actually just like a Mixtape Massacre. They did not a live event. They did like a streaming event on YouTube twice now, where you actually like play along as they're playing, and I think it's called like the Mixtape Madness or something. It was pretty cool. Like I was surprised with that. They just did an anniversary update for the game. It's gonna include, I think it's called the Director's Cut. So it's gonna include a couple of the expansion pieces, but they're also making miniatures for the cardboard cutouts. I joined that Kickstarter just to get some of the extra stuff because I'm like, I don't need another copy of the game.
Yeah, no, right?
As much as I would love to, but no. But they also just did something for, I forget what it's called, but it's called the drive-in, and then most of their stuff is like a drive-in related on it. So it's like the popcorn, the hot dog, and everything. It's a killer time. So that's what it was. They did that and actually made those characters in the game.
Okay.
So like, yeah, those are now slashers.
Killer hot dog.
I know. I was laughing because I thought it was a joke because it was April Fool's when they called it the hot dog pack. But when you clicked on it, nothing happened. It was literally just a joke until the next day. It was actually an expansion. So I was like, oh, you guys motherfucking played us.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well played. But I'm excited for that because like I just love talking to people because they're really genuine, and it's just cool seeing like their process. So it's like I know it's like kind of cool like seeing what else we're getting hints of like what's gonna be there. I think it's 150 vendors, so it's like it's a lot.
Wow.
And with it being all outdoors, I'm like, wow, I could see why. Me bitching about earlier, being like, I only wanted 50%.
Yeah.
I'm still bitching about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna remember to bring sunscreen this time.
Oh my gosh, dude, we were so burnt the last time. I felt bad because I'm like, we're standing right there, and the blacktop's hitting us.
I'm like, brr.
I didn't realize I got burnt until the next day from like my whole head was red.
and I'm pale to begin with, so it's like, phew.
But I'm kind of curious about the whole Conjuring thing. I'm like, they said it's like
Me too.
Photo, like they'll have like standees and photos and stuff. I'm like, fuck right.
But yeah, I was kind of confused about it because I'm like, okay, what exactly is it? It just said like we're having some Conjuring 3 thing here, and I'm like,
man, it's a promo.
I guess. I mean, I gotta say, overall, it doesn't look bad.
No.
I mean, I was a little cautious because James Wan wasn't directing it, so I was like, okay, What are we doing? And then there was like so many different variants of ideas that they were throwing. Like at one point they were going to be talking about these werewolves. Like it was a concept, and it sounded so much like one of those fabricated Ed Warren stories that he's known for.
Honestly, like after watching Conjuring 2 and checking out was it Annabelle 3, I actually started getting the books because I was curious. Because I'm like, all right, I'm kind of curious to see some of the stories. But like you said, like after reading several stories, I'm like, I feel like some of these are a little dramatized.
Yeah.
Taken better than they really are. Like, yeah, shit might have actually happened, but I feel like some of this stuff.
I think that's Ed's reputation, and in a sad way, that's kind of like what like diminished him. You know, it's like we were talking to him earlier about how there are some people who speak the truth, or like they actually say something that is going to happen, or they're pretty good at predicting it from like blueprints or whatever. But it's all in their presentation and how they do it. And I've watched some Ed Warren videos and how he presents himself well, but sometimes he looked like he would get a little defensive.
Yeah, a little crazy.
Yeah, and in some ways I'm also like, you know, Lorraine seems like the one who could have like the connection to the spirits and stuff, and I'm like, maybe you should just let her talk about that kind of stuff more because Ed's just kind of there.
I think they did play it up a little bit. What was it, the beginning of the original movie where he's talking? You can see a little bit of him getting the mannerisms and a little bit of like the over exaggerating. And it was like, I thought that was kind of cool, like a little add in. Like, yeah, he is a showman. He's always going to be a showman.
Well, plus it sells. I mean, I'm pretty sure it goes. Ooh, is that your shoulder? Ow.
That was audible, man.
Yeah,
I heard that twice.
That got recorded. Even in The Conjuring 2, he was on that show and he got defensive, and I mean I'm pretty sure that happened to him a lot.
And honestly, the guy that is playing him, I can't remember his name.
Patrick Wilson.
Yeah, he's doing an amazing job. Like honestly, the first time I got introduced to him was through Watchmen, and as the Night Owl, and that's another movie. We've talked about Zack Snyder several times, but that was another movie that I felt got better after the director's cut. Yeah, it's already a long movie, but we can talk about that another time. But yeah, Patrick Wilson, not actually his name now. He actually has like a lot of good movies in his repertoire.
Yep.
And where the fuck am I coming up with these like really fancy words?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's just like that, like you being the foreman and the leader and all this other stuff. Now it's just like, you know, like
coming out now.
Yeah, the terminology of the like the mark of a leader is just coming out. You know?
Oh yeah, don't make it sound that fantastic right now. But like he has a lot in there, and I was surprised at like where he's gone, and he's still going, and he has a lot more in him. Even I'm not gonna say her name.
Vera Farmiga.
Yeah, she is another one that has a lot there too, and she is a really good actress.
Yeah, I've enjoyed watching her stuff. I've enjoyed seeing her as Lorraine, and then seeing her in Bates Motel. Even though that show really,
honestly, I think I watched the first 2 seasons, and it died off quick after that for me.
Yeah, I tried to like just muscle through it. Just because it was like, okay, let's get to the ending, and even John said that the ending was just pretty predictable.
Probably lackluster too, because we already know where it leads up.
Mm-hmm.
I did laugh, like when that show ended. People were like, "Well, what happens next?" I go, "There's a movie." And they're like, "Wait, there's a movie?" I go, "Yeah, this is based on this movie, The Psycho by Alfred Hitchcock." They're like, "What?" I go, "Yeah, it's a really old movie." And they all look at me like, "Go watch it." I go, "It's an amazing movie." I go, "The show." Not so much.
I gotta say, I was actually really surprised about how decent the sequels to Psycho are.
I think the only weird one, I think it was, 3, where there was more of a prequel?
4.
Okay, yeah. And that was like a prequel, sequel happening at the same time. And
yes.
I'm like, yeah, it wasn't necessary, but it is what it is. It's not.
Well, I think 4 was like an HBO movie as well.
Well, didn't Anthony Perkins actually direct that too?
3.
Okay, I know he did one of the 2.
Yeah, it was 3.
And then the time gap between 1 and 2 was one of those things like I did not expect it to be well, but it fit perfectly because it was his time in prison and then him kind of do good.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that even the plot twisted that one. I'm afraid to talk about it because I'm like, shit, man. Now I'm like thinking like, well, there's episodes right there.
Yep.
And the plot twist is what actually makes that movie too, because the whole time it's focusing on him.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I don't remember 3 so much. I remember 4 right now as we're talking. 3.
It's not terrible. I believe it or not, now I've heard a lot of people say that they kind of think Psycho 2 is better than Alfred Hitchcock's, and I know. I see your reaction there.
Fuck out of me.
And I'm like, wow, that says a lot. And I believe there was the director's name is Tom Holland. Not like, yeah, I know, it's not Spider-Man.
Can be.
Yeah. And I think that Tom Holland also, he might have directed Child's Play.
Okay.
I think that's who it was. I don't know if I'd say it's better than the original Psycho though, but
I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it, like, cause I remember being good. Like, I'd say almost on par, but
it was definitely
exceeding.
It was definitely a lot better than what I thought, because especially for the longest time, I didn't even know there was a sequel. I think until AMC had it, and I said, "Oh my God, well, how good can this be?" If I didn't know about it until now, and it's on TV, and then I find out that there's 2 more after the second one, and I was like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah.
It's like, would people just keep going to these because it was Psycho? But Anthony Perkins is in them all.
Which is the biggest surprise.
Yeah. And if anything, he's getting better in them, really.
Yeah. And honestly, yeah, like you said, his acting got better, and like as he got older with it, and it fit the character, even the fourth one, him trying to deal with the fact that he had all those problems, and like his now wife, he was contemplating killing her because he didn't want his legacy to live on through his kid.
Yep.
As I'm literally explaining the whole movie and fucking it up for.
No, that's pretty much the gist of it, though. I mean, Psycho 4 is really like he's on a phone with like a radio psychologist or something.
Is it the woman from Texas Chainsaw 2?
Who, Caroline Williams?
Is it her?
No.
I was just like, maybe I feel like it's somebody that.
No, it's not her. No, but that's pretty much the premise of it, and that's where the prequel stuff comes in, is that he's explaining that. And I think
like
at first they don't believe it's actually Norman Bates. He's giving them an alias, and somebody's like, I think this is
Norman
Bates, yeah. And then there's like that strange correlation of like prequel and sequel and tie-ins, and how he says he's still struggling with his identity.
Honestly, like I remember. I saw the parody of Psycho before I saw Psycho. Saw Silence of the Hams with Dom DeLuise. So I remember that, but I'm like, dude, I cannot find that movie for the life of me. Like, I want to rewatch it.
You know, I gotta say, at first, I didn't really ever get scared of the shower scene in Psycho. I thought, okay, that is kind of scary, especially because you just see like the old woman hair, and you don't see the face and then the knife going in. But man, I'll tell you what, when you're alone in the house and you're in the shower and say you're shampooing your hair and the soap's in your eyes and you can't see shit and you have like that unknown, like just imagine if somebody like just pulled the shower and you're like, what? You know, think about it. It is kind of like...
I don't have hair, so I'm like, naked bald man in the shower.
That alone would make me go like, "What?
What the fuck?"
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
I remember being down at Universal for that Alfred Hitchcock little Psycho. It wasn't a ride; it was just kind of a thing. And
yeah. Honestly, like we've been talking about lately about going to Universal, because like as much as we would like to do Disney, there's nothing really like pulling us together. Like, yeah, we want to check out Star Wars, so.
Yeah, I actually had this conversation with Jackie that I like roller coasters, but I really don't feel an urge to go on them anymore and go to the amusement parks, especially because people nowadays, I hold my reserves because a lot of people are just like really impatient and opinionated, and you know, they just don't like respect the atmosphere. It's like, yeah, I know it's a line, yeah, I know it's crowded, and you're going to get a lot more people that feel like they're entitled to just do whatever they want, and people also like skip portions of a line and nothing said, and I don't know. It just becomes like a little more complicated, and then it's kind of like, okay, you get the adrenaline rush for 2 minutes, and then it's done. Yeah. And then you're on to the next line, and then you're in line more, and again, and even though there's a fast pass, there's still like some like regulation to using the fast pass stuff. So it's like, okay, am I really having fun here now?
No. I think, as I said, if we do that, we'd probably just do more Universal, because I would love to check out their horror nights.
Well, there's that, and also I think it's not really a roller coaster, it's more of a show, which I think is more fun.
Dude, the Harry Potter thing?
Yeah, exactly. Well, like we talked about the Jaws ride to death so many times. I mean, that one was just so unique. And
that was a show.
That was fucking amazing. I'll like that alone right there would make me want to go to Japan because it's still there. I mean, I preached about going to Japan for many reasons, but I would totally go to Japan and go to Universal and get on the Jaws ride one more time.
I was actually watching it on YouTube probably like 2 weeks ago, just because I'm like,
yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. Dude, when he busted through that wall during the boathouse, I'm like, oh, fuck,
I know, right? It's like, dude, he busted through the fucking wall, and he's like, ah! It's like, holy shit. Dude, as a kid, that scared the shit out of me when you see, like, the barrels and everything else getting smacked. It's like, there's a shark outside.
Yeah. Dude, that ride was fantastic.
I loved it. That was awesome. And then, like, how they incorporated the ending where he gets blown up at the end and charred, I was like, oh, my God. And it gave you that one last scare. Yeah. Oh, we really got him. And he's like, no. I remember going, get me off this thing. But now they don't have that, and a lot of it's just like the 3D stuff anymore. And then I thought it was weird that they replaced King Kong, or...
I remember that ride, too.
Yeah, they got rid of that a while back. I don't even know if Twister's still there, and that replaced Ghostbusters, which I don't even know why Ghostbusters had to be replaced. No. I can't imagine that was like...
Dude, I remember Back to the Future as well.
Yep, that's not there anymore.
Wow. Dude, this is now making me feel old as fuck. Now we're naming movies that were our childhood that are not existing
there. But they replaced it with some stuff like The Simpsons, I think, took over for Back to the Future.
Okay.
And I'm like...
Well, that was more of an airlift in a 3D ride, so yeah, it makes sense.
But still, the Men in Black ride I remember that they had there was cool. Because you got to, like, shoot the aliens, and you played against another tram car. Cool. And the line that you walked through was the Men in Black station. Like, one ride I always talk about that's really cool was the Spider-Man ride at Islands of Adventure, which is like that neighbor connection to Universal Studios. And you get to walk through the Daily Bugle and see all like the newspaper headlines and the clippings.
Oh, that's
of, like,
so cool.
Spider-Man takes down Doc Ock, Venom and Carnage like wreak havoc on the city, stuff like that. And then the dark room where they're developing the photos, you see Peter Parker's handprints on the wall. And here it was one of those, you go in the tram cars and you see physical parts of the city and the building, but then there's the 3D glasses where the characters are coming out and the bombs and the fire are flying. It was a really cool show. And I was like, I really dug. But, and I know that they're going more for like the 3D screen stuff and the holograms now. And I'm sure it's easier to maintain. I mean, I've watched videos and I've seen the stories of like how King Kong would just like blow a fuse so many times because it was so much electric that would be in it. And how the hell would you like to be stuck in that tram car? Yeah, with a gorilla like, ah, and then everything just goes black.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
this is where I'm gonna die today.
I've even seen the ones where like they get through the whole ride of Jaws and then the shark doesn't even pop up at the very end, and then the guy just goes, well, sorry, everybody. It looks like we got a technical problem. And you just see the shark, like, ready to pop up out of the water, and it's like, oh, it's right there.
Is that bad?
Yeah. Can we pet it?
I think the one ride I would love to do is the Jurassic Park one. I know it's a water ride.
Yeah.
And I think that would be fantastic.
That is a lot of fun. The only thing that kind of got me nervous was I was still pretty young when I went on it, and, like, you're just able to fit enough in that seat. Because at one point, you like the T-Rex is at the very end, and then you just go straight down.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And you're not really, like, secure in that tram, and the seat is wet.
Oh, my gosh.
So I made sure, like, you're holding on to that thing, like, ah! Otherwise, you might be flying out of that thing. I'm pretty sure I could fit better in it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm 180 pounds, so it's a little different. But, whatever. There was another really fun ride there. It was like Popeye related. That was a water ride.
Dude, that movie was water related.
No, it was like based off of the cartoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't
I've
the
seen
actual
the
movie.
Robin
It was
Williams
the cartoon.
one, yeah.
That was an Islands of Adventure thing. Well,
Okay.
Jurassic Park's Islands of Adventure
Okay.
too.
But honestly, it seems like a lot of those amusement parks are a lot more than just the main amusement park.
Yeah. And I also know that they got rid of Terminator as well.
What?
Yep, they
The
finally
fuck
got rid
outta
of
here.
that. I think they got rid of that around the time of the release that Dark Fate was coming out.
Okay.
Or it was a year prior or something. So, like, yeah, all that cool classic nostalgia stuff. And honestly, for anybody who never saw Terminator 2, the 3D ride adventure, whatever you want to call it, that's probably the best, like, sequel that could take place after Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Because they actually showed Skynet. There was a little more future fights, and they had the original cast from Terminator 2 in there. There was like a really good story in there that could have made a Terminator 3 better. I think so anyway. They had the T-1000. They actually took Skynet down. It was definitely much better than the shit we got afterwards.
Oh my gosh. That's one series I feel could have benefited with, cleaning it up a bit.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because I was telling Jackie about how, growing up, I really loved Terminator and RoboCop. And because I had seen Terminator 2 in theaters now, I want to see Terminator in theater as well because that's just a classic movie. And I was telling her about how RoboCop really only had one good movie, and it went down. Like, 2 you can tolerate, but it's not good. 3's a fucking waste. The reboot, there's something there, but it's not worth it.
It had potential, but didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. The benefit for both series at that point would have been if they would have had a RoboCop versus Terminator movie, because after Terminator 2, I don't think you could have gotten any better or bigger or higher with that.
No.
And with RoboCop going on the downside, I think it would have benefited to have them fight, because it could have like rejuvenated both franchises. It could have added a little more oomph to both of them, just to like take side stories if they wanted to. Because I think the problem with Terminator is they still focused on the John Connor story, and it's like, Terminator can go over the John Connor story. Like, I was saying that I think it's even in the game RoboCop versus Terminator that some of the technology used to create RoboCop is kind of what was part of building Terminator as well. So maybe like that could have been like this alternate storyline where they realize that John Connor keeps defeating the Terminators, so why not at least make sure that the technology survives to still give him a fight, and then that's how the RoboCop stuff ensues. And maybe if Arnold cost too much, you could have like had somebody else play the Terminator, or
so look at Genesis.
Yeah.
The Terminator isn't just Arnold. It's literally just, that's a shell.
Yep.
So they could have, he's an iconic Terminator. So is Linda Hamilton as part of the characters. But you don't need them. You can just continue making movies. And work on making a better story.
Yeah. Oh, and that was another thing. I felt like the concept for Genesis could have easily been Terminator 3 in the mid-90s. And you still could have had Michael Biehn and Linda Hamilton come back, redo the scenes or whatever, and take a different storyline to it.
Yeah, that Genesis had the opportunity to open the door for a whole new, I'd say, universe. And they decided to trash it and go back to the universe they're on.
Yeah, exactly. And I know you and I had this conversation that I think Genesis actually is a lot better than what people give it credit for. Do I think it's great? No. But I think there was definitely a lot of room for potential. I know that some of the actors, I know Emilia Clarke said that she had a terrible experience on it. But I think Genesis definitely had more substance to it than what Dark Fate did.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, I think at some point, if a Genesis sequel were to take off, you could have had Michael Biehn and Linda Hamilton come back as older versions of, Reese and Sarah. Or say, like, there was an alternate timeline or something instead.
Yeah.
There were so many ways they could have went with it, and instead they just said, no, we're rebooting it, and this is going to be, like, Terminator 3. And I just thought Dawn of Fate fell flat.
Yeah.
Ironically, after I saw that movie, I had a flat tire in the theater parking lot. So, speaking of falling flat. Ugh.
That's horrible.
Yeah, I didn't leave feeling good after that. That's for sure.
Well, on that note, we can probably wrap this one up.
Yeah, I think so. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, not at the moment.
Okay.
Pretty good. Yeah, the only other thing I got going on this weekend is the live stream for August Burns Red Leveler album. It's their 10th anniversary.
All right.
So they re-recorded everything. Like, literally made a whole new album.
Hey, what else are you going to do?
Yeah. But other than that, like, this is about it going on besides I'm hunting next week. Redoing that back patio still. That's pretty much my consuming time when I'm home.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much living basic, working, doing all that. I was excited that we got to finally see a Venom 2 trailer. That made me happy.
I'm just curious to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I mean, Venom's not that character where you're going to expect anything super amazing and fantastic because he's just fun.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem with Marvel movies is that that's pretty much what they are, and that's what we're going to get. And as much as I'd like to see practical effects done with it, I think you can. But I think it's actually a perfect opportunity for like a really cool filled out suit and using CGI more as that crutch.
Yeah.
Like for a face or the tentacles and the weapons instead of the whole thing. But they're going the whole CGI route in general anyway, so whatever.
Yeah. But honestly, like, as much hate as that first one I really got, it was just a fun movie.
Oh my god, yeah. I think fans knew it too.
Yeah. I feel like it could have benefited from actually having an R rating, but what we got was still really fun.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I can't really bitch too much. I could, but there's no point.
No, I feel the same way. And I'm looking forward to what they're going to do. I mean, it's just the way the Hollywood machine's moving with it. But it looks like there's continuity with this one. So, because, when a new director comes in, and they usually change it up quite a bit.
But, honestly, the way they played it out, they kind of have to keep the continuity, so...
Mm-hmm. But, even then, that doesn't matter, though, with a lot of directors. Sometimes they just do whatever the fuck they want.
Fuck it, let's do it. Fuck this movie.
Yeah, you don't give a fuck about what you want.
You know what? Like Last Jedi, that's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Yeah, and I mean, really, there's a beautiful mystery of like what's going to happen with movies and stuff in general, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, I know I'm still curious about what the Batman's going to be like. You're not interested at all in it?
No. I'm about as interested as I was with Joker.
Yeah. Yeah, really.
Because, like, I think it's, like, they are trying too hard to erase Zack Snyder's universe. But, as, fans have already stated, restore the universe.
Yeah. Well, I am, like, curious as a fan to see, like, what the movie's going to be like. I'm also, like, become more conscious about what I go see anymore, and also finding out about like other people involved with movies. Like how like you hear about people who are involved with like sexual abuse and stuff, and how we need to like just say, hey, even if they are in this movie, like we need to like not support it. Like I heard James Gunn had like so many sexual abuse allegations and whatnot on him.
Damn.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna see Suicide Squad 2. I'll admit I'll probably boot it or something. But yeah, I mean I've just come to that point in life where it's like, you know what? If I find out shit about that, I'm just gonna take a stand on it, because I think it's time we should, and not keep enabling these people and saying, oh yeah, it's okay, and we'll still like leave it alone and put it aside. Like I think people should be punished for it, like Harvey Weinstein and shit like that. So,
oh yeah, absolutely.
And the more and more I hear about like these rumors, it seems like they're not rumors so much anymore, and I'm just like, you know what then? I mean, as much as I'd like to see Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn again, it's like I don't need to rush out to see it. So that's just my opinions on stuff. People, you do you.
It's true.
Alrighty. I guess that'll wrap things up for Jeff and Collin in the morning.
You're new to the jingle.
Jeff and Collin in the morning. Maybe we'll start doing it. I don't know if we can. I mean, it's our own thing, so I don't think the jingle's actually copyrighted. Maybe we'll just Jeff and Collin in the morning. For anybody who doesn't know, watch the show Community.
You'll find out.
Yeah. And trust me, Community is a great show.
Most of it.
Season 4, nah, not so much. Seasons 1 through 3 are the best.
Yeah.
Really. It's awesome. Alrighty. So, that being said, we're going to wrap things up. This is Colin Peters.
Jeff Manfred.
And don't forget.
Yeah, fuck John. Fuck that motherfucker. Non-existent motherfucker.
Fuck his novel, too. Thank you all once again for listening. Stay safe. Stay crazy.
Please, somebody help me.
Oh, yeah.